All right. Close. Hello.
Ryan and Dwight giving Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers a run for their money.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you in a big week, one of the biggest weeks of the year. Hasbro PulseCon taking front and center lead on the toy news, and we'll dive into that first. But first, before that, we got some very important housekeeping. We got giveaways to talk about. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about in some housekeeping here. So stay tuned, but we're going to kick it off with Patreon as we always do, of course. We're in the month of September. The month of September, we got a giveaway. What is the giveaway for September? It's the Honky Tonk Man Greatest Hits Series 1 Target exclusive. Check out the giveaway over on the Patreon. Link in the description down below. But not done with the giveaways, as tomorrow, weekly purchases, be there or be square. A lot of fun on weekly purchases with a new segment over there on weekly purchases, as some people noticed last week. We'll do it again this week as well. But we got a giveaway involving Kyle Peterson 2.0, of course, my second YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it. But we are giving away Dominic Mysterio tomorrow, his Elite figure. Don't have to do a whole lot. Head over to my ex, SirPaul64, follow the rules, repost it, all that, and you can get in for the Dominic Mysterio giveaway. And got to give a shout out to everybody out there. We hit 5,000 subscribers on that YouTube channel, so very, very cool. Not quite the same channel as this one. Action figure reviews, of course, but a little bit more, a little wilder over there with old Todd and Mark on the couch. On a daily basis. So check out Kyle Peterson 2.0. Head over there. Big video this week with my wife. We did, I was going to say we unboxed, and we kind of did, but we did a little taste test action, put on my grocery business hat, and we talked into some of the grocery knowledge and things like that around the Coke Oreo and the Oreo Coke. Check out that video. You might even learn something along the way. How about that? But that's Patreon. That's giveaway on the Kyle Peterson 2.0 channel. Another big news this week. A lot of you guys and gals, never forget the gals out there, have been asking me for quite some time. If you guys remember, my book, The Complete Guide to Jakks Classic Superstar Series, came out in March of this year, earlier this year. A lot of people saying, Kyle, where's the Kindle edition? I said, the Kindle will come in time. Well, the time is now. Kindle version is up on Amazon. Check out link in the description down below. Head over to Amazon, search my name. You can find the book. You can get a Kindle edition if that is your thing. If you didn't want the hardcover or soft cover, you're crazy if you didn't, because it's something nice to have in your hands. But if you're more of the Kindle variety, now's your time to shine. Check out the old Kindle there, and who knows, maybe another book in the future. We'll see what ends up happening with that, but I appreciate everybody's support over there on the book. A lot of fun time, a labor of love if there ever was one. Check it out on Kindle if you've never checked it out. Obviously a lot more cheaper since it is digital, so there you go. Big news this week, sponsorship of the channel, and you guys know, of course, I visited a lot of my figure hunts. There's 3 locations in the Des Moines, Iowa area. It is Jays CD and Hobby. Head over to Jays Toys and Games. Of course, that's their website. They ship all over the place, of course, worldwide, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And you put in code Kyle, guess what? You're going to save 15%, not 10%, 15% with code Kyle at Jays Toys and Games. Check it out. Good sponsor of the channel, obviously local toy store here, so it means a lot, obviously, for them to get involved with this channel, of course. But man, that's a heck of a discount that I'm going to be taking advantage of as well. 15% has to be in-stock items, though, but that shouldn't be a problem. And if you're a fan of the Cosmic Mythic Legions, that's going to be the place to get it, because that will be fairly cheap for everybody. So check it out, save the code, make sure you go over there, Jays Toys and Games. Tell them Kyle sent you, and use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 15%. Man, got to get a deal. I'm here for that. It's a little bit of housekeeping. Appreciate all the support out there from everybody. But now we're going to dive into Hasbro PulseCon. All right, let's get down to Hasbro PulseCon business. And the PulseCon, for the most part, kept it moving pretty quick. And I had to work today. I work every day, what am I saying? But I was in between meetings and stuff, so it was kind of nice. I got to see G.I. Joe. Then I had a long break. I said, Magic the Gathering, no thanks. Dungeons and the Dragons, no thanks. Star Wars, no thanks. In between bits, no thanks. But then I dived into Marvel Legends. And I will say, in my opinion, the Marvel Legends team stole the show. It wasn't just the handshake heard around the world. It was the rest of the stuff they did present. We'll talk about that, but we'll go in order. We'll go with G.I. Joe first. But like I said, Star Wars, I really don't care at this point. They lost me as a customer over there. And as I always say on the channel here, you lose a customer a loaf at a time, you get them back a slice at a time. And I'm not sure the Hasbro team can get me back in the Star Wars game. I've moved on to greener pastures, washed my hands with the Star Wars Black Series. However, I'm still hot and heavy for Marvel, and even hotter and heavy for the G.I. Joe classified line, as you guys know. And G.I. Joe came in hot, kind of. I don't know. I wasn't really blown away with the G.I. Joe team's presentation here. I felt like I didn't learn anything and there was nothing new shown, in all honesty, and I think a lot of others were in that same boat. But we saw Starduster. Of course, he went up for pre-order today. A bit of a deep cut in the Joe land, a very deep cut, in all honesty. And it works as a fan channel exclusive, or even one step past that, Hasbro Pulse exclusive. That's the kind of stuff that needs to be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. If you want it, it's there. If it was out to the masses, it would be a peg warmer to the 10th degree, I think it would be at this point. But that's over there if you want it. I doubt it's sold out, but check over there if you want it. But I got my Starduster ordered, of course. But then they dived into some figures, and we saw reveals, I think, for these at San Diego Comic-Con. Now we finally got them. It feels like we've already seen them, even though I know we haven't technically, but it didn't feel new and fresh, and I wish we would have got a little bit more. We unfortunately did not really get that whole much more, but we did see Leatherneck, an all-timer, and without Wetsuit, he feels so incomplete to me. So I hope Wetsuit's around the corner as well. But Leatherneck doing his best Don Fry impression. Oh my gosh, when they took the hat off, it looked just like Don the Predator Fry. One of the all-time great athletes in the world has ever seen is old Don Fry. Now we're getting him as Leatherneck, or he could be Ron Rudat. Choose your own adventure. At the end of the day, we're getting Leatherneck. An all-timer in the Joe team, though, for me. Can't wait to pick that one up. And like I said, hopefully Wetsuit's around the corner. We also saw Dial Tone. We knew he was around the corner as well. Dial Tone, an all-time favorite of mine. An annoying voice, if there ever was one. A traitor for a little while. Got fired from the Joe team. We'll never forget that. And then he got welcomed back in. And one of those great Duke decisions, of course, I'm sure, had a lot to do with it. But we remember that whole story arc. It was a good one. If you've never seen that episode, check it out for sure. Love the homage. Oh my gosh, don't start with me, Todd McFarlane. Homage. We get it by now. He's got that backpack on, the communications backpack with the antenna. Beautiful. Reminds me of my childhood Dial Tone playing days, of course. Dial Tone here for that. Have to have him there. We did get a Dreadnought and Xandar, of course, building out Zartan's family. You knew this was coming. A must-have figure. Looks pretty cool. Face paint. You know me, I'm a sucker for face paint. A good-looking figure. Going to go with Zarana. Real good in my collection. Probably yours as well. We also saw a Viper. We saw Saw Viper. Hide your Doc figure. Saw Viper's in the house here. An army builder, I guess, if there ever was one. He's just going to cut right through you, I guess. And it is Friday the 13th as I'm filming this, so I guess maybe he's just being a slasher like our old friend Jason Voorhees, or maybe the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface, I guess more specifically. But shout out to Friday the 13th. What a great day. What a great day. But we did see those. We also, after the PulseCon was over, they showed some digital images, which I'm shocked they didn't show it during the show. But we saw Heavy Duty, Heavy Gunner, of course, and a lot of people using the Cobra Island roadblock back in the day as Heavy Duty. But we also got Law & Order, which was one of my most wanted figures. Very excited for Law & Order. A favorite figure in the 3 3/4 line from me. Loved him in the movie as well. Cannot wait for this figure. That will be a top 10er if it does land this year for me in the G.I. Joe line. So very excited to see those. We also got a little clue to the future. Hunt for the Mass Device. So we're going to get some throwback figures, some of that kind of stuff. Be interested to see where that ends up headed very soon. I guess that's our little Easter egg we got like the Marvel Legends team always did. But besides that, didn't really get a whole lot from the Joe team. They did like a Hall of Fame thing, which is nice and all, but this didn't feel like the time for it. And you got some banter and stuff like that, a little video game talk. Just felt like they said, hey, you got 20 minutes. And they're like, oh my gosh, we don't have anything. How are we going to fill 20 minutes? And that's where you usually tell jokes and stories. That's what I usually have to do in meetings. I say, okay, you guys heard this one. Let me work the room for you. I would do a magic trick, but if you watch that video with my wife and I about the top 5 women's least favorite thing, magic trick was on that list. So I I took that all out of my arsenal. I don't dare pull out the magic tricks anymore. But the Joe team, a little rough. I wish we would have got a little bit more. The devil's in the details, of course. Felt like they were just kind of going through the motions, unfortunately. And Joe brand and the Joe collections, of course, that's my bread and butter. That's where I really cut my teeth as a little kid. So hoping for more on the Joe line. Hopefully we get some more in the future. Stay tuned, I guess, there. But then we turn our attention over to Marvel Legends. And to me, Marvel Legends won the day there. Dwight and Ryan looking good. No Dan there this time. All great guys, but man, that handshake, that changed the whole, that changed it. That was a power move, wasn't it, Todd McFarlane? You hate to admit it because you feud with Hasbro, as we know. But he admits that was even a power move. That handshake, if they both would have had collars way up in the air, would have been the ultimate power move and probably would have just blown up the internet, I imagine. But shout out to Dwight and Ryan for leading the show there. They started off with Dragon Man. We know all about that. He went up for pre-order this week. An amazing big figure. I'm here for a big figure. And I like what this is over the HasLab because it gives our wallets a little bit of a break. Still around $100, so it's expensive, but it's not that $200-300 price point going on. So I do like what we see here, and that's what a lot of people have said they've want. Next year, could we get a Fin Fang Foom in the same thing? We'll see what ends up happening, but I pre-ordered my Dragon Man, a fun-looking figure. Can't wait to have that. They did a little fan vote thing where everybody chose one between Dan, Dwight, and Ryan. Apparently, Dan won, and his fan vote figure was X-Force Nightcrawler. I'm sure we'll see the rest revealed in the future. But I like the idea of building that dark X-Force team out with Nightcrawler. You can never have enough Nightcrawlers, especially if you're fishing. That's what I've heard as well. But Nightcrawler coming to the X-Force line down the future. No spot as of right now. A bit of a curveball. I guess I didn't know what to expect, and this is one I wasn't thinking of. But the Spider-Man animated series, of course, love letter to the old animated series, and even the toy line in a lot of ways. The retro Spider-Man and Vulture. Now, it's that younger Vulture back when he was sucking the life out of people and stuff. I loved that Vulture figure when I was a kid. That was a pretty cool one, and to my eyes, that was my Vulture really for the longest time. And Spider-Man looks really good, and you just kind of roll your eyes a little bit. Spider-Man again. At least this time they gave us some different heads going on. Eddie Brock head. Some different stuff to make it feel different if you have the old Spider-Man or whatever. You got your straight Spider-Man, but you could mix it up, make it feel a little bit different. That's pretty cool, all things considered. So a good two-pack there, of course, over there on Hasbro Pulse. Exclusive to Hasbro Pulse, as we do know. But the big one and the scene stealer, show stealer for me was the Marvel Legends Secret Wars figures, of course. We got a little taste of that with Dr. Doom about a year ago around Christmas time. What is time? I'm not sure. Now we're getting a full-on Secret Wars line. Now, Secret Wars and the Kenner Superpowers, those were my first ever superhero figures when I was a little kid. I remember those. I had Dr. Octopus, Captain America, Dr. Doom. I had the Tower of Doom. I think that might have been all I had, but I loved those figures as a kid. I used them with my Justice League figures. Just a lot of fun there, and very cool, very nostalgic to get this packaging and the Secret Wars line. They announced the line. Hopefully this isn't just one and done. I would love to see 2 or 3 series of these. Let's at least make every character that we had that was involved in there. That would be pretty fun. We'll see what happens. But we did see the Beyonder. Oh, man, he's looking almost like he's out of the 70s, even though it was like 84, 85, 84, I think it was. But we got the Beyonder, first time in the line going on there. Titania, first time in the line. A She-Hulk villain. She was in the She-Hulk series, if we do remember that, on Disney Plus as well. So we're getting 2 bad guys right off the bat in this line. We're also getting Wolverine, an all-timer, of course, and we saw this one at San Diego Comic-Con, this Wolverine. A lot of people thought it was part of the video game. Nope, it's part of the Secret Wars here. Great to get another Wolverine. I'm here for all the Wolverines. He's my favorite. Another good guy, Captain America, childhood nostalgia. Have to have them in this line here, especially for me. The breakable shield, or the broken shield on this one, is very nice to look at. I like the looks of that. Iron Man, it feels like we've been here before, like a young deja vu Iron Maiden. It is what it is. Iron Man's going to be there all the time, as we know, just like Wolverine, Spider-Man. It just depends how big of an Iron Man fan you are. Myself, more of a Wolverine fan than Iron Man, so I can stomach Wolverine. I can't stomach all the Iron Men. However, he was a part of this line. You got to throw him in there eventually. Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, what have you. And then the last one, Symbiote Spider-Man with enough twist to make him feel different. Of course, this is the series he debuted that costume in, so I thought that was really cool to get this in here. But that Secret Wars line Came out of left field a little bit for me, but man, I'm excited to get that one. Going to be very fun, going to be very nostalgic at the end of the day. So a lot of fun at the PulseCon. Not a ton of groundbreaking stuff. Not one of those all-day marathons like they felt like they were a while back. They moved a little quicker, but they didn't seem to have as much meat and potatoes as years past. Maybe that was just me. I don't know, but there goes my notes. See you later, goodbye. But now we're going to dive into the regular toy news this week. We're going to leave the PulseCon in the past. We're going to dive into wrestling. We're going to dive into Todd McFarlane stuff, of course, and all points in between. But let's start with a little wrestling news, and one I missed at the end. Just right after I filmed toy news, this was officially announced. 2-pack coming, of course, to Amazon. Not sure when. Hasn't went up for pre-order yet. Matt and Jeff Hardy 2-pack. That's probably last time in the line, in the AEW line. An amazing looking 2-pack. I'm not the biggest Hardys guy in the world. I mean, I respect the Hardys. I like the Hardys. It's just not Demolition, the Road Warriors, the Steiner Brothers, Doom. It's just not that for me. But I've always liked the Hardy Boys. Seen them since they've started. Seen them till now, of course. But a very Jakks-like 2-pack. And man, this would look amazing to get autographed. Got to think this will be one of the most popular packs Jazzwares has ever put out. There's no doubt there. So that is coming. We also saw Monday Night Wars Triple H, of course, the Walmart exclusive Ultimate Edition. Saw some glamour shots of that one. We've seen a lot of glamour shots the last couple of weeks from Mattel. This is another one here. A lot of people are going to get this Triple H, I think, but there would be a few that would pass like anything else. But an okay Triple H. I'm not over the moon with this one. Maybe it'll look better when we get it here at the table, so we'll stay tuned to that. We also saw some glamour shots of packaging images, which means they're right around the corner. The Ringside Collectibles, once again, use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% at Ringside Collectibles. It is the Vault. It is CM Punk, the Straight Edge Society. Man, oh man. Millions of collectors just weeping, or more like 10 to 50 collectors probably weeping about that one getting re-released. Hulk Hogan and the NWO just felt like we just got that figure. Here it comes back again with a vengeance. HBK, the old defining moments. I don't know about that one either, so we got that coming back out. And then we got Yokozuna ×2. Of course, he is the Chase as part of this. We'll see. A banner year for Yokozuna. A lot of Yokozuna figures this year, as we have seen as well. So there. Whoa, stop the clock. Kyle here breaking in. Almost forgot a little bit of wrestling news from Mattel this week, as we did see an upcoming greatest hits wave, and I've been back and forth these greatest hits waves. I like them when they mix it up. I like it when they change things up. However, this set here, gonna disappoint a lot of fans, and it is basically straight up re-releases. I don't see anything different with these figures coming, but we got LA Knight back again, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dominic Mysterio. Straight up re-releases, it does seem here. I like it when they give something at least a little bit different. And all four of these figures, very recent figures as well. So, very strange. I guess not so strange, though. It is, like I said, tip-top guys in the WWE right now. You want to get those out all the time. Kind of akin to the top picks. So, I don't know if greatest hits, top picks, interchangeable at this point. Whatever way it must seem, we do got a new wave coming out. And I have to imagine longtime collectors, probably going to be a pass for them from Mattel. Now moving into some of the retro lines. We know them, we love them. We want some more of them. I don't know if we want some more of them. There's so many going on right now. Top Rope Collectibles, PN News. The pre-order is still going on all month. If you want to dive into the Gloobs, that's the Gloob style, I'll say. Gloob style. That's where you can start. They got Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff around the corner as well. I'm still on the fence. I'm waiting to the last minute on this one. I just don't know what to do. How many lines can I collect at this point? And it's a lot of money. You guys know these retro figures aren't cheap. They're probably average $50 or more a piece. You add all these ones up. I've been too deep on a lot of them. I don't know if I got it in me to start new ones. So will I get the PN News? We'll see what ends up happening there. Put your money down in the comments. Put your money in Vegas. Will Kyle get to PN News? Love to hear what you guys do think. Moving on to retros. Zombie Sailor, of course. Ric Flair, Bad News Brown. He showed both of those off. We know pre-order coming September 26th. Bloody version of Ric Flair playing all those bloody hits. Have to imagine we'll get a regular version down the road. I guess stay tuned for that. And Bad News Brown, man, another one of those guys from my childhood. Got the Ghetto Blaster. I thought that was the coolest move when I was a kid. He'd do that kind of kick to the back of their head and knock them out. Just an all-timer of a move. And I loved Bad News Brown. A lot of people maybe just don't remember who Bad News Brown is, or they're a newer fan or whatever. But man, he was a Bad News. That really fit the mold for old Bad News Brown. Really enjoy getting a figure here. Big rubber, guys. We need Bad News Brown. That's one from the LJN days we really needed that we never got. Hopefully that does come. Speaking of retros, Golden Era Wrestling, as you're watching this yesterday, it was the last chance to get the Steiner Brothers and LOD. In typical Kyle fashion, I waited till the last minute. Didn't want them to have my money a month longer than they had to. I waited till the last minute, got my pre-order in on those. We're going to see what all the fuss is about, but right on the heels of that, we got Powers of Pain, we got Demolition. We're building out that tag team universe. I'm here for that, but I would love to see those two in hand before I have to pay for the other two. I want to see what these are like in hand before I have to put the money over for, of course, the Powers of Pain and Demolition. All-time tag teams right here for me in my childhood. However, I'd like to see some proof in the pudding before I start doling out more money. So we'll see how that ends up netting out. More to come on the channel, of course. And we're not done with retro figures. Of course, good friend of the channel, old Hasbro Toys over there, Grapplers and Gimmicks, turning and burning. He's always making things happen, and we always talk about it. I think we talked about it last week. Constant learning, constant improvement. We did see an updated Godfather figure. If you remember his first Smoke Train figure, not his best work. I think he'd be the first to admit that it's not his best work. And he's got the Godfather coming back out. A lot of people unhappy about the first one. Well, you shouldn't have bought the first one. I mean, you saw what it looked like for the most part. You knew what you're getting yourself into. And now you got a better, improved one. And we've seen that with Mattel. You go back to the infancy of the Elite line to right now, definitely some changes between those figures, as we do know. Joints is one of the big ones, among many other things have changed over the years, as we know. But Godfather coming. We saw the back last week. We saw the front this week. It is Rhino, the old man beast himself. He's coming in very, very hot this week. Over there, of course, from Grapplers and Gimmicks. And then we saw the other big one. It is PCO in a former gimmick, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the wrestling pirate. Oh my gosh, like I remember a Running Wild back in the day. We're here for that. So Jean-Pierre Lafitte coming to Grapplers and Gimmicks in the future. There's no shortage of stuff. Weekly purchases, you see some Grapplers and Gimmicks figures, and I got to get unboxing those this weekend. So some reviews of those to come next week. Stay tuned for that, of course. How about KWK? We talked about them earlier. Use discount code Kyle, all caps, save yourself 10%. We know all about La Resistance. 3 different versions for pre-order right now. Jump in on that one. And now we got to talk to the Saved by the Bell kids.
Dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy.
The Saved by the Bell kids, like a lot of people on social media, are saying the same thing here. We're going to Rush Collectibles. Now, one of the most controversial toy lines we've covered here in the last couple of years. And controversy creates cash. We've heard that in the past on this channel. We've heard it from Eric Bischoff. Heck, he named his book after it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's creating a lot of cash or not. But Rush Collectibles have really made a lot of enemies out there. But they keep churning and burning and keep bringing out product. And I say keep bringing out. They haven't brought a ton of stuff out. And I know there's a Chris Van Vliet around the corner, a Donald Trump figure around the corner, a Frankenstein monster around the corner. We'll see how these go. We'll see what happens when they get there. But this week, they officially announced their LJN line. Of course, you know, sticking it right to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast as we see Rush Collectibles seemingly throwing them under the bus all the time. A little bit of a hot feud going on there, but the Major Pod guys really not fighting back. So you really can't have a feud if there's not two people engaging back and forth. And I think they're going the way of ignore it, and then we won't talk about the Rush stuff. However, Rush this week came in with Roadblock. Now, that was one of the first retro figures. We actually unboxed that figure on the channel here. But we're getting a LJN-style Roadblock figure from them. Very interesting. Not sure how many people want a rubber LJN-style Roadblock figure. It was a deep cut for the retro line, even deeper cut for an LJN-style line. No sign of price points on this one yet. I don't know if they'll be 40 bucks, 30 bucks, 50 bucks. Not sure what it's going to be. We'll have to stay tuned for that in the future. But I don't know how well that Roadblock's going to sell and how many is the minimum units on something like this. So going to be very interesting to see where that ends up going in the future. I guess we'll have to stay tuned like everything else. We also talked about it last week. Rocky and the Sylvester Stallone camp apparently making LJN-style Rocky figures. Very cool. Fits in with the LJN kind of time frame for the most part as well. And we did see some pictures this week of those, some official pictures. So be interesting to keep an eye on that one in the future and see what happens. And then speaking of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, we talked about this last week. Got images of the card art, classic super style card art for Jeremy Padawer's figure. Sounds like the proceeds from that figure will be going to charity, so that's pretty cool. I'm definitely picking this one up. Jeremy, good friend of the channel, of course, helped me out a lot in my Classic Superstars book. I don't know who else could have helped me out. Wrote the foreword. Very nice guy, Jeremy, of course, so I will definitely pick up this figure. to have in my collection. And if you want the Kindle version of the book, you know where to go for that. But I definitely recommend everybody to get the Jeremy Power figure. It's like you're supporting a charity, plus you're getting a figure with it. That's not a bad spend. Not a bad spend at all. We also saw a brand new Ultimate Warrior bobblehead. It's getting out of control in this bobblehead world, especially from Foco. Another Ultimate Warrior, this time based off a magazine cover. I had to skip one or two back. I forgot about it. It sold out. Now I feel like I don't have to be a completist to these lines of bobbleheads. So I'm thinking I'm probably just going to pass on this one. But we'll see. Stranger things have happened. I'm a bobblehead guy after all at the end of the day, it feels like. So I thought that was very interesting. But no, we're not done. And as Rob Halford always says...
Message from Rob Halford of Judas Priest. Step on the red, cross on the green, never take a ride in a stranger's machine, and always make sure you're burning on turbo power.
And man, we're burning on turbo power from our friends over at the Loyal Subjects. Now, we've seen Loyal Subjects wrestling figures in the past. Most recently, we've seen Loyal Subjects Ninja Turtle figures in all points in between. This week, it was officially announced they picked up the Gem license. Truly outrageous, I know. But more importantly, the Mask license. A lot of us collectors the last 20 years saying, when's Mask coming back? When's Mask coming back? Everybody's coming back, but where is Mask? Of course, if you're not familiar with Mask, one of the great 80s toy lines, brought the power of G.I. Joe and the power of Transformers together, and it became Mask. Absolutely loved Mask. It was a great show as a kid. Loved the cartoon. Shout out to Matt Tracker all day long. And it looks like Loyal Subjects is going to come out with Mask figures, but in a twist, not going to be the 6 or 7 inch scale figures. It's going to be old school. They're going to basically make them like the olden days. So... be interested to see. I don't know if everybody wants that or not. I'm sure there's hardcore Mask fans out there that are all for it. I was thinking of a more of G.I. Joe scale is what I was thinking of, G.I. Joe classified scale. However, I understand the pain points of that because the vehicles being so important, very hard to make those without just breaking the bank in every single set you make. So probably... best way to go the old school way there. But very interesting to see Mask back in action, as we haven't heard a whole lot from Mask outside of Ramen Toys kind of making Mask figures, we'll call it there. But of course, the 25th anniversary G.I. Joe line had Matt Tracker in there, which I thought was really cool, and a nod to collectors of the past as well. So I do really like what this is coming into. I'm anxious to see what the product looks like in hand. Very interested to see if Hasbro does dive into a G.I. Joe classified scale Mask line in the future. We'll just have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Super 7 this week. Fairly quiet for Super 7, except they showed off the Cat Slayer packaging. Supposed to be here at the end of the year. Should we hold our breath for that or not? It would be great to have it by Christmas. Hopefully that is the case. But 2 boxes for this thing. It's that big. How am I going to unbox this? Where am I going to put it? I got to figure out these things. I got to figure out where I'm going to put the Cat Slayer and the Dragonfly. I got to really work on that. Hopefully in the next month or so. We'll see what happens there. But very, very cool to see the Cat Slayer packaging. Looks very, very nice. As you guys know, I picked one up, of course. More on that when it does get here. But bring on the Cat Slayer. Oh my gosh, unbelievable. And now we're going to finish off Todd McFarlane on the couch. Todd making it happen. A little bit quieter this week here, but we did see brand new digital, McFarlane digital releases. We saw Robin, new 52 Robin. Yeah, sure, whatever. They didn't show what the Chase version. I don't think there's Chases in the digital line. At least there hasn't been yet. So it's just straight up Robin 52. But the one that excites me the most, it's been what I've been screaming for the last year. And Todd, I appreciate you finally listening to me here and bringing this one out here. It is a classic Joker, very much like the Kenner Superpowers Joker. Going to pair up beautifully with that Collector's Edition Penguin we just got in the Platinum Edition. Couldn't be more happy about this one. Early on, a top 10 figure of the year for McFarlane Toys for me. Very excited for this Joker figure. We'll see how that ends up tracking. And then we're just about a week left in the Kickstarter for the Medieval Spawn. We saw some more pictures there. Todd throwing all kinds of giveaways, things like that. And that is also supposed to come before the Christmas season. So, man, some exciting stuff coming from Todd McFarlane on the couch. He's working like crazy over there. He's worn a spot into my couch. That's how long he's on that couch for. Really getting things done on a daily basis. But very excited for this Medieval Spawn. Once again, I have not backed this one yet. How much stuff can I back at this point? We'll see. I got about a week to make my decision what I'm going to do. I was thinking about getting 3 of them, thinking about just going black. I don't know. I'll figure it out along the way. I guess you guys put your money in Vegas on that one too. Does Kyle back the Medieval Spawn? I guess we'll find out what happens there. So, a lot going on in the toy news this week. There's a ton of stuff with the PulseCon, everything else. A big, busy week if there ever was one. But we're not done with this video yet. We got to do Album of the Week. Album of the week time, and I should mention before I get to the album of the week, just yesterday as I'm filming this, my wife and I went to a concert. We went and saw Sum 41 on their final tour, and the Interrupters opened up for them. I was there more to see the Interrupters. I enjoy the Interrupters, being kind of part of the Rancid family. You guys know me being a big Rancid fan. Did enjoy that for what it was. It didn't change my life by any means. It was about what I thought it would be in concert as far as the Interrupters go. Played some new stuff, played some hits. You know how that ends up going there. But it was a good show. I wouldn't say it was great. I wouldn't say it was next level. I wouldn't say it changed my life. But it was worth seeing. And then, of course, Sum 41 came on. Not a huge Sum 41 guy, in all honesty. I mean, I know a lot of the hits and stuff like that. I stayed for almost the whole show. I think I left right before the encore. So I missed their two biggest hits, I guess you'd say. But it was okay. But I was shocked in the pits and stuff. And you'll see a lot of this in the figure hunt video next week. I'll put some of that footage like I always do in the figure hunt. But I couldn't believe the circle pits and things they had going at Sum 41. I felt like I was like at a Slayer show or something. They even got the Amon Amarth Wall of Death going where everything was going. So I was a little impressed by that. And I was shocked. Was it Derek, the lead singer? Man, he's a little guy. I think he could fit in my pocket maybe. He was playing a Flying V, and the Flying V was bigger than him. It was absolutely wild. I haven't seen anything like it since the first time I watched Webster. And Different Strokes. Shout out to Emmanuel Lewis. Shout out to Gary Coleman. All day long. But I did see those. So that was an interesting concert. And I got a lot of concerts around the corner. Got Judas Priest here in a couple of weeks. Iron Maiden in a couple of weeks. Clutch in a couple of weeks. Three of my all-time favorite bands. Bam, bam, bam. Right, left, and center. I'm here for that, of course. You know me. I love my live shows. So more on that when that does come along. Can't talk today. Album of the week, though, we got to dive into one of the new wave of British heavy metal greats. You guys know me. I'm a big new wave of British heavy metal guy. I love that whole era of heavy metal. There's so many deep cuts, so many bands that had just one album or just a couple of singles. It's just a cool lore. It's a really cool thing to dive into and get into. I've always enjoyed that since I was in high school, kind of reading up and like, oh, what's this band about? What's this sound about? And one of the bands that really was an awesome one, very underrated band to this day, were dormant for many years, have been back with a vengeance probably the last decade or so with an album every couple of years. Their latest album came out this week, Songs in Crimson, the band Satan. Yes, Satan! He's got a band. Who knew? It's one of those bands where it's like, okay, they don't worship the devil. It's just, you know, it's Satan is their band name. But you want to be a popular, you want to be a U2, you want to be a Coldplay. Nobody wants to be a U2. Nobody wants to be a Coldplay. Nobody wants to be a Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi can't even mind his own business and let a lady jump off the bridge. Oh, too soon? I don't know. But Bon Jovi, always meddling. He's a meddler. That's what he is. But Songs in Crimson from Satan, one of those bands, if they changed their name, could they have been bigger? I do think so. A great classic new wave British heavy metal sound, a sound that hasn't changed throughout the years a whole lot, and a sound that's kept up and feels just as fresh now as it did back then. Keeping your same sound, keeping your same thing, but rolling with the punches of life. I'm here for this one. I listened to it 3 times today. Very, very fun. Beautiful vocals, beautiful guitar playing. I'm here for it all day long. Bring me Satan albums on a regular basis. And we've gotten one every 3 years or so. So that's pretty good. I'm here for that. So Satan, an all-timer of a band if there ever was one. I'm sure a lot of people watching this never heard of them. But check them out. Court in the Act. There's a bunch back in the day as well that are really, really good, worth checking out. So you never heard Satan, give them a listen wherever you do listen to your music. And that is the album of the week, Satan, Crimson, Songs in Crimson. So there it is. But let me know what you think this week. What was your album of the week? What did you think about Hasbro PulseCon? What did you think about the toy news? Anything excite you? Anything get you just ready to go, pumped up to buy some figures? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day on both YouTube channels. Once again, don't forget that giveaway. Make sure you subscribe to the 2.0 channel. Don't forget about Patreon, early access to all the videos, glamour shots to all the videos, Q&As, giveaways, monthly, you name it, it's all going down on the old Patreon channel. Appreciate the support over there. Appreciate the support at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget the Jakks Classic Superstars book. Of course, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. If you want hard copies, Kindle edition available now, so you can check it out on Kindle if that is your thing. And don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for another toy news of the week, you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
All right. Close. Hello and